What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More. I'm your host, Matt, and this week we're going to be doing something a little different, a little special. We are going to be talking about Frozen, the Broadway musical version. There is a pro shot that was done on the West End in London with Samantha Barks as Elsa and Laura Dawkes as Anna. And I just got back about an hour ago from seeing the first show to kick off my Broadway season at my theater. And so I want to talk about the live performance as well. I'm going to talk first, though, just about Frozen, the Broadway musical, some of the changes that are made from the movie to the stage musical. And then I'll talk a little bit about each of the performances. So, the adaptation from film to stage. First off, there's a lot more songs on stage, new songs added. It makes sense, right? When you're putting on a stage performance, when you're making a musical adaptation, you need a few more than 10 songs. You want to fill in more musical numbers, get the more ensemble supporting numbers involved. You want to throw in some dance breaks, some dance scenes to keep that energy up on stage. You don't want to worry about as many effects shots or as many dialogue scenes. That's not what you're looking for in a musical. And Frozen especially, you want good family fun, things that are going to keep kids entertained as well. There were a lot of kids in the performance that I saw. Most of them behave themselves. That towards the end of the second act, there were multiple crying babies, screaming kids. It was a bit of a mess, but by no means the worst that I have been to. There's around 10 new songs added to the stage musical, give or take. I didn't do an official tally or count, but about 10 new songs. Not really any major cuts besides it doesn't open with Kristoff and Sven and the ice harvesters harvesting ice. It doesn't open with that. It opens with a big number with kind of townspeople and some numbers for young Anna and Elsa. So that's one of the big changes. Once it is on stage as well, it's had a few minor tweaks, either lyrically or the biggest one is on the original Broadway cast album and when originally launched on Broadway, when Anna and Elsa meet for the first time in forever, Reprise is the song that they sing together. It's good. It's well done. I liked it. But in 2020, that song was replaced with I Can't Lose You, which I think is, for me, one of the top 3 songs from this musical. Now, I say for me because it is a kind of sad ballad between Anna and Elsa, and you see their love for each other and just kind of this is really the first time they're reconnecting after everything they've been through, their kind of isolation, separation from growing up. And it'll make you tear up. So that's not what everyone's looking for in Frozen. I get that. I have a little bit of a different take on Frozen than a lot of people because I don't have kids. So I was not given the opportunity for this musical to just be ran into the ground and for me to just get sick and tired and burnt out. There were songs I enjoyed of this. I think Let It Go is the only one from Frozen 1 that ever made any of my playlists, really. For the first time in forever, it was good. I like Love is an Open Door a lot as well, but they weren't ones I throw in like my musical faves playlist. Let It Go didn't even make it. However, I think it's a fantastic musical song in general. It made our draft when I think Brad and I did a Disney songs draft. And Idina Menzel from the movie. Idina Menzel and Kristen Bell, both fantastic and give fantastic performances in that. So I have not seen the original Frozen movie in probably since it came out. Like, I have not rewatched it at all. I've listened to the soundtrack, but I've not rewatched the movie. I watched the Proshot that was done on London's West End, and I think it filmed in 2022. I watched that last night before seeing the show tonight. I wanted to introduce myself to some of the new songs, get a feel for it. I never know if there will be some technical issues. Sometimes you get what you get. And so I like to familiarize myself with the songs. It's been a discussion and a debate we've had on the pod multiple times, both with Rayleigh and with Brad, because I like knowing the songs and the music going into it, and kind of familiarizing myself with the plot. Brad likes to kind of more go in blind, experiencing it on stage and live and the story for the first time, like the creators intended, which I absolutely understand and respect, and I think is fantastic. I'm always big on like to know and familiarize myself so I can maximize my experience there. Do I sometimes miss out on the experience of seeing a story beat for the first time or just having my breath taken away by listening to a song for the first time? Absolutely, because seeing something performed live is a whole different experience than definitely just listening to it, and even from just watching a movie. That live aspect and seeing that energy from the performers just takes it to a whole new level for me. And so there can be a song, it doesn't click. I don't love it when I'm just listening to it, and then seeing it live, I'm like, that one's going to be in my mind for a while. Not going to be forgetting that performance. And when I talk about the live performance, I'll touch on some of those. But there's a number of great changes that I think a lot of times turning, especially a Disney movie, into a stage adaptation can seem like just a money grab, and like, what are they really adding to this? I think they did a lot of really great things with this adaptation, and some of my favorite songs that beat out some of the originals. And maybe there's a little bit of recency bias, but Elsa has a song towards the beginning, right before, during her coronation, called Dangerous to Dream, which is absolutely beautiful and haunting and kind of going through her emotions in that moment and her mindset. There's Young Anna and Elsa have a song. There's when we're introduced to Hans, he has a song, Hans of the Southern Isles, which has an absolutely amazing reprise towards the end of Act 1. And then Anna and Kristoff have a song, What Do You Know About Love? That's fantastic as well. One of my personal favorites, I already touched on I Can't Lose You, which will bring a tear to your eye. Like, it is beautiful. If you have not listened to it, stop, pause this, go listen to that song, come back. Because like I said, it's not on the original Broadway cast album, but there is a single of it that was released. So listen to I Can't Lose You. It already went on my musical faves playlist. But opening Act 2, there is a new number that is performed by Oaken at his kind of the sauna and outfitters post from the movie, and it is such a fun song. It's called Hyuga, and he's describing what Hyuga is, and I say it like that because I have to say it like Oaken. And all the ensemble comes in, they're dancing, they're doing a dance number in towels. It is just such a fun song in general, and is such great energy to open up Act 2, because Act 1 closes with Let It Go. So you have Elsa coming into her own, embracing herself, embracing her nature, her power, and who she is. And you have that just powerful moment closing out Act 1. Then you go into your intermission. It's 15 minutes. People chat, check their phones, whatever. And then, okay, how are we going to get back into this? And doing it with a really fun number with Anna, Olaf, Kristoff, Sven, Oaken, and everyone at the sauna, I thought was perfect. It is a really fun song. Now, it probably won't make it to my musical faves playlist because I prefer more like the heartfelt songs. This is just a funny song in general, and the most laughs of any performance of the night on the live version when I saw it. So absolutely great addition. And then towards the end of Act 2, we're not quite at the finale, which the finale's changed some, but Elsa has another solo song called Monster that is absolutely amazing. And both Samantha Barks on the Proshot and Kate Heyman, who I saw live, did an absolutely amazing job with it. And that song will also be making it to my musical faves playlist. So Monster and I Can't Lose You, instant faves for me. Make it definitely into my top 5 songs from the show, if not 3. Let It Go kind of has to be in there by default just because of how powerful the vocals are. But I think for me and the type of music I gravitate towards, those make it up there for me. And with the exception of Huga, the added songs, especially Monster, I Can't Lose You, those give it a little bit more of a mature feeling, if that makes sense. Ultimately, this is still a family, kids-friendly musical. There's some double entendres in there that parents will appreciate, get a kick out of. It was a very mixed crowd. Where I was sitting, it was primarily people in their 60s and above, and then you'd have a few kids sprinkled in. So interesting grouping there. But the visuals of the animated movie cannot be beat. It is a gorgeous film. There's a lot of fun things. I do think I'm getting Frozen 1 and 2 confused. I was going to say, I think Kristoff has a song that was cut from the Broadway musical, but that's in the second one, I believe. If I'm going on soundtrack alone, the musical beats out the movie for me. The original Broadway cast album has Casey Levy as Elsa, who performed as Diana on the West End version of Next to Normal, which we talked about that PBS Proshot there, which go support PBS. They could use help that's made possible by viewers like you. So subscribe to PBS and then you can watch the West End Proshot of Next to Normal all you want, except it is censored, so it's a bit awkward there. So be aware of that. But I thought this is one of the better Disney movie to stage musical adaptations. I really enjoyed Aladdin when I saw it too. I thought that lent itself well. The energy was great. The cast was great. And I liked some of the added story beats they gave. I talked about it just last week on the 2 weeks ago on the podcast. No, it was last week when I was talking about best new songs and different adaptations, versions of that. I Can't Lose You and Monster definitely would have been on that list, maybe even Huga. And I really enjoyed the reprise of Hands of the Southern Isles. I really like that moment in that song. I apologize if you're just listening on audio and not watching on YouTube. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's a Thursday. I have had a long ass week. I am leaving for vacation in the morning, so I've been packing all night. I'm struggle bussing it here, and so stifling yawns. But I get my review in while it's fresh and just saw the performance. So Frozen the musical, definitely worth your time. If you have Disney Plus, watch the Proshot. And speaking of which, let's talk about the Proshot. So the Proshot features Samantha Barks as Elsa and Laura Dox as Anna. It was filmed in London, like I said, I believe in 2022. So it does have I Can't Lose You instead of For the First Time in Forever reprise. If you really want to listen to For the First Time in Forever reprise, go to the original Broadway cast album. You can listen to it there. Casey Levy does a fantastic job with it. And but Proshot, it's a Proshot. It is not my favorite Proshot that I've seen by any means. I think the young Anna and Elsa that I saw tonight at my performance was just as good, if not better, than the young Anna and Elsa in the Proshot. But kids, they're young. actress. They do what they can do. This pro shot was done in a way. Samantha Barks, you can tell, is absolutely amazing. And Laura Dox was fantastic alongside her too, because standing your own next to Samantha Barks can be tough. I was first introduced to Samantha Barks when she played Eponine in the Les Miserables movie, and just her performance and rendition of On My Own is so heartbreaking and amazing. What I wish I could see was her performing alongside Jonathan Bailey in The Last 5 Years on the West End. That is something, because I love that musical. I love Jonathan Bailey. I love Samantha Barks. I need to see that performance. And so getting to see her as Elsa was so absolutely amazing, because, I mean, granted, yes, there have been lots of people on Broadway. I mean, even Casey Levy, fantastic and insanely talented. Idina Menzel, Broadway royalty, you could argue, just out there, just crushing it. And I don't think you really have to argue it. Idina Menzel is Broadway royalty, with Elphaba and Maureen, like, just so many amazing roles on Broadway. And granted, Elsa wasn't on Broadway, but there's just so many powerful voices and amazing performers who have played Elsa. Samantha Barks, absolutely stunning. This pro shot had some weird directorial choices for me. They decided to have multiple scenes where they filmed behind the performers out into the audience, so you get to see the entire audience there. I didn't see the point of that. It added nothing to those scenes. I felt like they got a little bit too cutesy with the directing of it for some reason. The sets were absolutely amazing and stunning. The costumes, grand. The scale, grand. Everyone does an absolutely great job. It is a good pro shot, and you are able to just experience these amazing performances and new songs. So highly recommend the pro shot on Disney Plus. You have the time, you should. It's under 2 hours. I think it's an hour 51 minutes. So check it out. Amazing performances, amazing voices, amazing cast, amazing musical in general. Oh, and I'm looking at my other notes. I have to give them kudos during the People of the North, which obviously is not little rock troll people. It's people in costumes with dreads. White people with dreads. But there is a pregnant dancer. So pregnant ensemble member in the background. Kudos to them. She's crushing it in the background. So, and my wife said she was pregnant too, so it's not just me. So don't come after me if she wasn't actually pregnant. I do apologize. She could have just been bloated from a big meal. But my wife said pregnant too, so not just me. But fantastic. Watch the pro shot of Frozen, the hit Broadway musical, as they have it branded, filmed on the West End in London. Now, let's talk about my live show, because I like talking about these performances. Usually what I like is shouting out the national tour and where people can have a chance to see it. Now, even though this was the show that kicks off the Broadway season at the Lied Center, the theater that I go to, one of the main ones here in Nebraska, this is not an official Broadway national tour. What it is the Nebraska Repertory Theater from University of Nebraska Lied Center for Performing Arts production of Frozen. So what it is they have licensed the Frozen musical, and they put it on with the the Pittsburgh CLO, Kansas City Starlight Theater, and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So a lot of partnerships, and most of the cast is from either the Pittsburgh CLO, which is the Academy of Musical Theater, as well as Actors Equity Association members. So that makes up the bulk of the cast of the performance I saw. I was a little nervous would feel a little bit like a community theater production, right? You don't have these Broadway names or people who are really striving. I mean, I'm sure these people are striving to make it on Broadway too. Don't get me wrong there. But just a different level of production. I knew sets probably not live up to some of the other things we've seen there. I mean, tours in general are like that because you're taking everything with you, everything going on there. But which the set for this, fairly minimal for the most part, and most of the effects and scenery swaps are done with a video board in the background that portrays some of the effects, so they don't have to do as much creative work with the lighting that you can do in a permanent set piece either on Broadway or the West End, with some of those bigger set pieces and frame work that is done. But this cast was absolutely amazing. I already shouted out, I didn't give their names, but young Anna was Haley Camacho, and young Elsa, Laurel Dank, both members of the students of the Pittsburgh CLO Academy of Musical Theater, so good for them. There's different notes in here, and I had to make sure I was quoting the correct one. But like I said, rivaled that of those on the Proshot from the West End. But what I was really blown away and impressed with was Kate Heyman as Elsa and Daisy Wright as Anna. I did not know what to expect, especially for Kate Heyman's part, having to follow the last performances I've seen of it are Adina Menzel and then Samantha Barks, who are absolutely amazing and absolute powerhouses. And some of those songs I cannot imagine are easy to sing. Some of the notes you hit and Let It Go, even some of the high parts of Monster that you are just having to hold that note, your breath, and everything, that the breath control, I can't do it. That's why I don't sing. I sing in the shower and in my car loudly. That's the extent of my singing. Sometimes karaoke when I'm drunk, but rarely. My anxiety doesn't let me do that more often. But man, these performers knocked it out of the park. Everyone. It was just like, I kind of wish I could see it again because the performance was that much fun and that good. And seeing I Can't Lose You and Monster and Let It Go, like those three numbers, which shout out to Kate Amon carrying two of those solo and one heavily part of the duet, which that would make it on my top duets list. Beautiful duet between the two sisters. They were I had chills. They were powerful. I upgraded my seats for this Broadway season, so I'm now 5 rows in, dead center. I got some tickets when I went to see Moulin Rouge for the second time in the front orchestra area, and I really enjoyed being able to see the actors emoting more and see some of that. And after my first full show here, that's my first time seeing one, I have a little bit of mixed feelings. There's sometimes things will happen at the back part of the stage where you miss some things. You can't take in the full scale as much, I feel like, and appreciate some of the background dancers. It can be harder because there's a lot in the foreground that can be distracting to you. And there was one scene when Sven, which is a person in a costume that's back front, big old Sven costume, where he's pulling the sleigh with Kristoff and Anna in it, and I couldn't see the sleigh or Kristoff or Anna. All I'm seeing is Sven, and not necessarily a bad thing. I'm excited. I'm still glad I upgraded because seeing the actors just emote and seeing their expressions and emotion and passion behind these performances adds another layer to me, and I think made it that much more special. So glad. I'm a fan of the new seats, but I have to shout out because there's so many characters that do so much work throughout this. Anna, Elsa, all ages, fantastic job. I have to give a shout out. Matthew Hydzik was Kristoff, or Hidzik. I don't have pronunciation guides. They don't give that to you. He did a great job as Kristoff. Kevin Hack, fantastic as Hans. Sven, Jordan Barron being in that. Actually, Jordan Barron, it was played by an alternate. I think it was Justin O'Brien is who we got tonight. And he did an absolutely fantastic job in that whole Sven costume, moving it around. But Oaken was portrayed by Ryan Kavanaugh, who Oaken is who sings Hugo, and just the voice, the acting, the emotion, so much fun. The performance he gave was amazing. He was sweating at the end of the number. I don't blame him. The energy was there. It was fantastic. One of the most fun songs of the show. And ultimately, ginormous shout out to Kyle Kempf, who played Olaf. If you watch the pro shot, you will see Olaf is performed. There's a performer behind him holding a puppet for Olaf. Up front, his feet, there's things attached for Olaf's feet, moves the arms, the mouth, and is also behind there emoting, giving his own performance as well. Facial expressions, not phoning it in, doing everything, hit some amazing notes as Olaf. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. Absolutely loved it. Had so much fun with it. This cast was so talented and so good. And like I said, I was a little nervous. I'm like, we're not even open up with a Broadway tour. We're just doing like a repertory theater one. You're basically doing a licensed show. But it set the tone, the energy. I'm really excited for it. Tina, the Tina Turner musical is what I'm seeing next. That's in October. It will be actually the new national tour is their first stop is Lincoln. So they're opening it up. My season tickets are on Thursday. So I will be seeing the very first performance of the new national tour of Tina and we'll be reviewing it on here. So that's something for you to make sure they have notifications on it and come back here. You should watch every episode, but definitely come back for that and I'll give my thoughts on that. But if you have the chance to see Frozen, it is a lot of fun, especially if you have kids. It's a good intro to them. There is, like I said, humor you will enjoy as a parent, even as an adult. Like I said, I enjoyed the music, but I'm not like, oh, Frozen's the best Disney movie ever. It's the best. I didn't watch it a million times. I've watched it once or twice. Haven't really watched it since it came out. So, like, I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on Disney Plus, and that's where I watched it the second time too, like shortly after that. I think my parents came over and we watched it with them because my niece and nephew were talking about it all the time, or just niece at that time, nephew not born. So I don't know. I think you should see this show. Again, absolute shout out to Kate Amon for doing a fantastic job in her numbers as Elsa. Monster and I Can't Lose You, like I said, right up there with Let It Go for me. Those are like exactly what I look for in musical theater songs and what I gravitate towards. They are beautiful. I want the ones that make you almost shed a tear. That's what I want. I don't want the ones that make me like want to openly sob, like Home from The Notebook. That's too much. That's too much for me to not expect. But I was gonna say something, but I'm pretty sure I already said it. I've been having issues. My computer likes to go to sleep while I'm recording the video, and if I don't move the mouse fast enough, I deal with that. So I recorded 15 minutes of this and then had that issue, and when that happens, I lose all audio. So it's very, very dumb and stupid. So I don't want to throw in duplication because I will be editing this when I'm on vacation and be limited with my time and resources. But I don't really have any other notes on this. I don't have all your Broadway history for you. It was on Broadway for a while. COVID hurt it. It then went on a national tour. The national tour just ended in 2024. It was on the West End. I think it was 2021 through 2024 potentially, or maybe it's just through 22. I don't know. Don't quote me. I did do a quick skim. I did not memorize it. I did not notate it. That's on me. I take ownership of that. But go see Frozen if you ever have the opportunity. They have licensed versions of it. Your local community theater's probably putting it on. I'm kind of bummed. I vacationed this week. My local community theater was doing Come From Away, which I absolutely love. Come From Away. It is sad. It is also like a hopeful movie, as weird as that sounds, but it is such a good musical, and I want to see it. They were sold out last week, their opening week, and then this one I'm going to be gone, and so I'm going to miss the opportunity. But support your local community theater too. There's a lot of talent hidden out there. All of them are not going to be at the level of what I saw tonight. Obviously, like I said, they're still bringing people in across the country. And when I reviewed Next to Normal from the community theater, hit or miss on the cast there, but still getting to see it live was very special to me because I absolutely love that musical. But experience Frozen the musical. Experience these new songs. You owe it to yourself to at least listen to the new songs. If you're like, my kids made me listen to Do You Want to Build a Snowman 200 times. If I hear that again, I'm going to blow my brains out. Then maybe don't go see Frozen live. But go listen to I Can't Lose You and Monster. And like I said, I would also recommend Dangerous to Dream. I really like Hans of the Southern Isles, The Reprise, and Hugo. They're also great ones that were added into this stage musical that I would just really recommend. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. It may have already dropped. I'm recording this on Thursday, August 21st. The Love Island Season 7 reunion happens Monday. I said I probably wasn't going to talk about it on here. I had a little Love Island fatigue. That still exists, and that's still a very real and true thing. However, it looks like it's going to be fireworks, so I'm probably going to talk about it on here. Could be a bonus mini episode, so stay tuned for that. Then first week of September, so next week, I'll be talking about what's on streaming, what's on in theaters, like highlights there, what you need to know, what you should check out. So make sure you're subscribed, have notifications turned on to that on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Podcasts, all the fun stuff. Check us out there, follow us, rate us 5 stars, share with your friends, comment. Love having interactions. Interacted with a fan on Instagram. May have them on to talk some live musical theater, what goes on behind the scenes, like I talked about in last week's pod. So stay tuned for that. I also, as time allows, I may try to reach out to my theater and try to get some of the talent that's coming in on tours on the podcast. Logistically, nightmare, because I'm not actually a professional, if you couldn't tell. If you couldn't tell, I've done almost 200 episodes of this, and I still am a complete amateur and know nothing about this game. But thank you all. If you have seen Frozen live, tell me your favorite song. Oh, I did get snowed on. They do have snow, so I did get snowed on at the end. So also highlight. Thank you all. Love you all. Like, comment, share, follow, all that fun stuff again. But ultimately, don't forget to go down once more. Later.